Hey everybody, welcome back to the Social Distance Podcast. As promised, we're back on the day that we said we would be. We talk about, we touch on the UAE tour, we touch on the Strade Bianche, the big crash there, and then we go down a big wormhole of talking absolute shit, telling stories about Biffo on and off the bike. George tells a story about people shitting themselves in races, and we sell out. We've sold out. As we told you guys last week, we've signed with the big networks now, so we're not doing this shit for free anymore. This episode is brought to you by Manscaped.
Yes. I like how when we signed with the DM network, we were very we were up front. We said, hey, we're not going to sponsor stuff unless we believe in it. So send us a case of gin and a couple of slabs of beer. I don't know why I put that voice on, but and they said, all right, well, we'll just give you products that we think you need to use. And they've sent us Manscaped, which do like ball shavers. So I was thinking,
well, I think the more
how did they know?
Was ball deodorant, and I think that was aimed at you.
No, hang on, mate. Don't tell me that your nuts smell like bloody roses. I reckon you could do with some crop preserver and crop reviver. But the beauty is this stuff. I'm not going to piss in their pocket too much. It's awesome. They give you like a. I can't believe it got to the point where we're telling people about shaving your Jats crackers, but they give you like a full-on blow-by-blow how to do it, really? And they give you like the weed whacker. So when as a bloke you get those annoying like nose hairs where you can't get to it. This thing goes where no shaver goes before, and you can get.
Wow! Oh, you got me concerned there. Is that staying in your nose?
Yeah, ears. When you get to 40. Hair grows out of every orifice, so it starts with the ears and nose, and I'll just keep working.
I think this is a great product for me to endorse because I'm a notoriously baby-faced man, so no ability to grow hair on my face, but I have the hairiest ass you've ever seen. And
well, this is the perfect size; like you can get right in there.
Oh, you reckon in your Delta Goodrum? Not your Delta Goodrum, your Gwyneth.
But then you can't switch from ass to nose, so. You gotta make a call.
It's like chamois cream and sunscreen. You've got to get your order of operations right. You've got to put your chamois cream on before your sunscreen. You can't fuzz your ass before you fuzz your nose.
But they give you the full blow by blow. And since you've got a baby face,
they give you products and they go talk them up. And we're talking about creative ways of shaving your bumhole. We go, it's meant for the nose, but. We could use this for other areas. Wherever there's hair, let's go. Manscaped.
Well, Manscaped do focus on the full body, so you can. They have actually just released the ultra premium collection, which would be good for you, George, since you've got nothing to shave on your face. They got shampoos, they got conditioners, they got body gels, and if you guys or girls, or by the sounds of it, you can do whatever you want with these products, even though they're intended for different purposes. You can go to manscaped.com, use the code SDP20 for 20% off and free shipping anywhere in the world. So get onto it.
That's good.
We're endorsing this product. We're endorsing this product because we believe in it, and we don't want to hear about George's hairy ass any longer.
I'm just head to toe.
Baby's bottom. Yeah.
And I will smell like roses. I'll tell you what I need is that crop preserver up here. It's -5 outside. I got to go for a bike ride.
Mate, I'm telling you the absolute truth. Because when people sell products, you go, he's never used it. I actually have. And this smell is next level. It is. So get amongst it.
There you go.
The crop reviver,
Manscaped.
The ball toner.
Manscaped.com. It's easy to remember. SDP20, 20% off and free shipping. Let us know how it goes, everyone.
Let's just run the intro and wing it like we always do and see what comes out of it.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Front kick.
Just getting bored and dance move chat.
My radar's going pretty hard at the moment. I think we should.
Will you shut up, man? Listen.
That escalated quickly.
We're going to need to get some more qualified guests on the show, eh?
Boys, we're back. We're back. And a lot's happened in those 2 weeks, in the cycling world at least. Well, you could argue a lot's happened, or you could argue fuck all's happened, because just the same guy's been winning everything. Oh, Pogman. Pogman's cleaned up in UAE.
He's killed cycling. He's killed it. It's not fun anymore. It's like playing a computer game on cheat mode.
Oh, he's playing
boring.
PlayStation, that guy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you
You
what's
need
the
to
most
get in his
amazing
ear
thing about
and
his
tell him to
Strade.
even it up.
His Strade win was unreal, but also the fact that the run-in. So we did UAE tour, and then we actually stayed. So you guys all left. You finished on the Saturday, and I think you guys left like that night, right? Everyone flew back to Europe, whatever. We ended up hanging around for like 4 days to meet the president of the UAE, which was pretty interesting life experience. But that
What
meant
did
that
that
we would.
involve? Did you go to the palace?
Yeah, man. Yes, we went to.
We got no idea.
It's so to meet this guy. We've met a few pretty high up in the royal family of the UAE, but there's a meeting palace you go to, and to even see him, there's a whole day of checks just to see this guy. I met him for like a minute and a half, so. But that involves, PCR tests, like security checks, all your passports and stuff. So there's a whole rigmarole around it. And also, he's a pretty busy guy. So you can't be like, oh, I want to meet the team. I'll see you tomorrow. He's like, we'll see you Tuesday, Wednesday afternoon. So you're going, okay, well, cool. We're in UAE for a bit. So we were sort of there after the race, not really training because we were in the middle of Abu Dhabi. Riding a little bit to the city, but no, you couldn't really train. You could just ride. And then, we were all the chefs, all the race food, everything had gone home. So we're sort of there with, your deep fried chicken from the Joe's Garage or whatever that restaurant is down the bottom. So we were there for he would have got home, I guess, Wednesday night or something. Didn't do any recon because he had to go home to, change his undies. And then rolls into Strada and just pulls a number on everyone. I just think man, this guy is actually my hero. And he actually everything is just fun for him.
Freak.
Man, his win in Strada was anything but boring. It was I just love the balls on the guy. He's just, I don't know how he sits on a seat, eh? He's a new generation.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
I don't know how he sits on the seat. His balls are that big.
And he attacked on a downhill as well, on the gravel.
Man, I was shitting myself watching him, eh? When I was turning that on, I'd just seen Alaphilippe do about 3 fucking front flips over his handlebars, and I saw it was super windy, and I saw him just going down front wheel, skipping down the downhill. I was like, oh no. Just seeing my whole season plan just sort of capitulating and him losing his front wheel, but he pulled it off. I thought you had a crash. Well, I thought you had a crash. Yeah. I thought you were all down on the ground, and then I saw you rock up to the back of this peloton and say, hey, boys, what's up?
Oh, mate, I was fucking lucky. I was so lucky. Everyone that into cycling would have seen this crash from Strade Bianche on the weekend. It was insane. And honestly, there's a couple of guys quite a number of guys that didn't finish the race, including our leader, Michael Matthews. He crashed pretty badly as well. Ended up with 10 stitches in his chin. Tish Benoot, the leader of Jumbo, he crashed out. A number of guys crashed out. But I'm surprised there's been no injury report. No one broke any bones in that crash. I was for sure thought I was going to read at least a collarbone, I don't know how they came out of it unscathed, because I'd had a small crash just before, about 3K before the start of that sector. It was it's a really important sector in Strada. And because of the wind, it was super windy that day, everybody knew that we needed to be in the front for that sector. It's quite a technical sector, and then with the wind coming from the side there. So it was a big rush to the sector. I got taken. Some guy from the Eolo team. He sort of I don't know what happened, but he kind of fucked up a bit and hit me and just pushed me off into the grass, and I kind of just leant on the grass and then basically got straight back on. But I was last wheel going onto the sector, and I was like, this is not going to be pretty back here. Fucking crosswinds on the gravel. I was just swinging at the back.
It's the one that goes up, It's that one, where it always splits. It's the longest, it's 11K or something.
Yeah, it starts uphill, and then it's but then there's quite a lot of downhills and things.
Yeah,
it's quite a
that's the
section.
worst sector. Yeah.
And I was at the back, and it was fucking hard back there. And so I was sort of there was a group of us kind of like getting split off the back, coming back to the bunch, getting split off the back, coming back to the bunch. And then just as before the crash happened, it was a really windy section. So it was sort of split into quite a few different groups. And I was back like second or third car. And then like I started running back at the bunch again. And I was at the top of the crest, fully open, Tuscan Hills, top of a crest, and it went down really steep and then it went up steep the other side. So I could see like 500 meters in front of me, and I could see the bunch in the dip about to start the next uphill. And then next thing I know, mate, it was just like fucking bike riders spread across the Tuscan Hills, like huge crash. And I was like, fuck. At that point, after being pissed off at this dude taking me out, I just wanted to buy him a beer. I was like, mate, you saved my life. You saved my life. I would have been in that crash, and I would have been the one guy on the injury report, probably with something broken.
Oh,
no
mate,
doubt.
for sure.
You would have broken enough collarbones for the whole pello.
Yeah. Right. I would have broken my sixth collarbone, I've only got 2 of them, but I would have found a way to do it. But Alaphilippe literally somersaulted. And the most impressive thing about Alaphilippe was the way he crashed. Like when he races with panache. When he crashes with panache.
Oh,
but
yeah.
the motherfucker, he got back to the front and was attacking and racing. Like, I don't know how he did that, because I came in, like you say, George, onto the back of the crash, and I stopped for like 20 seconds to see if Bling was okay, and be prepared to offer him a wheel, or be prepared to like try to help chase him back to the bunch. But it was clear he wasn't going to continue racing, so I got going again, and I got going not long after Alaphilippe. Like I could see Alaphilippe in front of me, and I was going fucking hard. I was by myself, admittedly. He had a couple of teammates, but he got back. I never ever got back. And
Is that what we just go? Is there a shortcut to the bus, or you have to go the whole way around?
No, there's a shortcut. So there's heaps of us. We're in a group of about 30 guys, and we followed the race. Well, we tried to come back for like 20k, because there was a big section of normal road off that sector before the next big sector. So I kind of thought, there might be a chance we could come back actually. In the end, we couldn't. So then we just went straight to Siena. And then, so I got to that. That was when I got on the bus, and there was like 15k to go in the race or something. And I walked on, and Pogacar's fiance is in our women's team, Erska. And so she was on the bus watching the race, and I walked on, and like she's a bit of a laugh, and I saw that the coverage was just of Pogacar by himself, and I was like, oh, who's this guy? What's he up to? Just taking the piss a bit. And then she was just like, oh, fucking idiot. He attacked on a downhill. Fucking hell. Wants to risk everything. And 50k to go. What's he thinking? 50k to go.
I love that he wins. He'll win Strade and just get a bollocking from his missus. It's like,
Yeah.
Like,
but
you know what's crazy is that Strade win wasn't even the most ridiculous thing that's happened in cycling in the last 3 days. Did you guys see what happened in Paris yesterday?
Oh, mate, unbelievable.
I got home from training. I had to work like yesterday. You wouldn't believe my day. So it was like crazy snow up here. So I drove down to start training, and I get out of the car. My bike's not working, and I was like, "You are kidding me!" I've just kitted up. Taking me like half an hour to kit up with all the hats.
Is this another George Bennett mountain out of a molehill?
No, this was a proper absolute prick of a day. So I start riding and get like 10 seconds into my ride, maybe like a minute, just down the whole hill, and I realize, oh, my gears aren't working. So I'm stopped, and it's like maybe like -2, -3, raining. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like sleet, snow. And I had 4 hours in the cars. And then so I'm sitting there trying to fix it. And like this bloke from Movistar rolls past, whom they've had Campag for the last 5 years. So they know exactly how to fix it. I've got no idea. My first year. And he gives me the old you all right, mate? Like wave, like, oh, you okay? I'm clearly standing there with my bike upside down, trying to.
Yeah.
I'm like, clearly need some help. And I was like, nah, I don't. And he's like, see ya. And I was like, what?
It's like when he's giving you the old someone's got a when you're out training, and there's like a bunch of weekend warriors on the side of the road with one of them's got a flat tire and the bike's upside down. And they're trying to put the wheel back, and then you just accelerate past them. Like, are you all right?
But what's the etiquette for a complete cycling nuffy? If you see someone on the side of the road, is it etiquette? You've got to go pull over and give them a hand if they're in the Pro Tour kit.
Are you okay? And then just hope like hell they say yes. But I had it once. I had this. Me and Sepp Kuss were out riding in France from here. We did this. We're doing a 7-hour day. It was turned into a 7.5 hour day, and pretty an hour and a half in, we passed this guy in the middle of nowhere in these back roads down like out of Axler terms. And he's walking up this hill and we ride past like we were cooking and we're like, oh, you right, mate? And he's like, no. And we're like, oh, fuck, okay. And then we're like, what do you need? And I looked at his bike and it was like derailleur hanger was hanging off. And he's like, oh, can you guys, here, I'll give you my keys. My car's parked 3K up this hill. Can you go get my car and bring it down for me?
So you don't like your chat, let alone having to work for it.
And we were just looking at him like, mate. We looked at him, me and Steps would look at each other like, all right. We'd give you a tube if that was what your problem was. We'd even help you fix the puncture. Yeah. But I'm not going to go and pick up your car at the start of a 7.5 hour ride. Like, you're on your own. I just said, take your shoes off. You'll get there faster.
I'd stop if it's someone by themselves and it looks like they're having a hard time. But if there's a group of them, I wouldn't.
Oh, he was alone. But his car was 3K. He can walk 3K. Damo Housen told me this unreal story yesterday about when he first moved to Andorra. He did, so Calder Ordino, you can go from this side or the other side. But in the winter months, like right now, it's closed because there's a barrier at the top. So you can go up all the way to the top and you can go almost to the top from the other side, but there's normally a patch of snowed road that's still closed. And this was obviously a pretty bad snow year. So he came up the back of this side at the end of a 6-hour ride and he thought he was just going to drop down and be at his house. So he goes through the barrier and then he hits the ice and he's like, oh, it can't be that much ice. So he walks for like a K on this ice. And then he comes across these hikers that come up and he's like, oh, how far is the ice? How far is the snow down? And they said, oh, it's 2K. And he's like, shit, okay. Well, he's already walked a K down and he's got to walk. So if he, otherwise he'd have to walk all the way back up and then ride another hour to get home. Or he could just walk for 2K and be home in 15 minutes after that. So he keeps walking, realizes that they had said 2K vertical because they had just walked straight up the side of the hill. But of course the hill zigzags down. So he walked for 7K at the end of a 6-hour ride.
No.
Daryl Impey once had to push me home 30K because I couldn't.
What?
Yeah, it's actually quite a funny story. It's like it was my first year in Girona, and we had a comment a few weeks ago. They wanted to hear some more Biffo stories, so this is sort of a Biffo story. It was 2010, and it was just before Commonwealth Games, and I was going there on the track, and it also results in another broken bone of mine. And we were riding back from Banyoles, and we were about 25K from Girona. And we were coming down this downhill in this really small village. And then this guy in this BMW, like fucking M3 or whatever, some fast V8 BMW, came past us at like 80K an hour, past us on the inside of this blind corner and literally pushed us across, like almost off the road. So I gave him the fingers, which I used to do back in my younger days. I don't do it so much anymore, maybe because of the story. So I gave this guy the fingers, and he just slammed his brakes on in his BMW, and I was like, "Fuck!" Coming in at like 50K an hour, swerved his car. As I swerved around his car, he jumped out of the driver's seat, and he was a massive dude, and he just grabbed me by the back of my shirt and just fucking threw me off the road, just literally manhandled me, threw me straight off the road, and I just like tumbled. Broke my hand, and fucking my knee smashed my knee into this rock. But I was so angry. That I just literally did the Alaphilippe somersault straight back onto my feet. First thing I did was I went down, took my cycling shoes off, and I was like, righto, I'm going. Like, I was just seeing red, I was like
cleat to the jaw.
I was like a bull to a red. And this guy was like 7 foot tall and like 200 kgs. And I was like, I'm going to die trying. I'm dying trying. I was so angry. And then as I got it, I started like running at him with my shoes. Well, I'd taken my shoes off so I wouldn't slip over. And then he just grabbed this, like one of those like ropes out of his, those ropes that you use with a big metal hook on the end to tie things up. And he was just swinging it at me. I was like, this guy's a fucking psychopath.
It's like Mortal Kombat.
If you're driving around in an M3, you don't have a tie down in the back of your car. You're not using it to tie stuff down. You're using it to
that's it.
And I I was like, this guy's a psychopath. Like, I'm pretty angry, but at that point, I was like, my hand's pretty sore.
Pick
My
your
knee's
battles.
like twice the size of my other knee. And Imps was just standing back, like, Bills, I don't know if it's a good idea. And I was just like abusing this guy. And then eventually he just drove off, and then I couldn't ride. My knee was so swollen, I couldn't pedal. So Imps had to push me all the way back. And
That
then
would
I
have
went.
been good content for his YouTube channel. I wish he'd had a camera there.
Oh yeah.
And
would've gone
funny
viral.
enough, it turns out that the front lawn that I landed, that this guy threw me onto, is now owned by Jack Bauer. So every time I go to Jack Bauer's house, I always look at this ditch in his front yard and think, "Fuck, I've been in that ditch before, mate." Some behemoth,
that's fucking awesome.
behemoth from Palolda River threw me
Yeah,
into
but
it at 50k an hour.
did you find that after that moment that Imps gave you instant respect because you're a mad dog and you went back at the 7-foot guy? Because you know, as mates, you don't know mates until the shit goes down. But in that moment, he would have gone, "No, full cred to Bills. Like backs against the wall. He went at a guy that was swinging a hook. Like it's like
I'll tell you, you
mates
see a
cred,
lot of true colours in that situation. We had it in training camp with Jumbo Visma, and we were riding along in Austria, and this guy comes up and brushes us, and straight away we were in a group of like 12 guys. Straight away, I'm up on the double, flipping him the bird. He slams his brakes on in front of the group. We were like, whoa. And it was pretty interesting to see the guys that were in his window trying to steal his keys and kick his wing mirrors in versus the guys that were turning around and riding the other way. I went, I didn't expect him to be riding away, but I also didn't expect you to be leaning in the window trying to steal his cars because this guy's nearly killed us.
Yeah.
But in that situation, you'd always back yourself. Like pack mentality is, there's a lot of confidence in pack mentality, eh? Like even if you were not a confrontational guy, you didn't want to do that stuff. You'd just be like, I'd come in real hot. Like it'd be a chance to show like to the boys, like, oh, if there's ever a time I've got to pretend to be someone I'm not, now's the time. I've got the backing of 10 other people, eh?
If I want a contract for life, let's go.
I had it really tested. I've told you guys a story about the meth head, that broke my bike and tried to beat the shit out of me on the side of the road. And that was if I'd been alone, that would have been very different. But when you know there's someone else there that if you that he's gonna beat the shit out of one of you, and the other one's like a 17-year-old, and you're like, I guess this is my time. I have to step up, right? But
there's always a time you've got to. Like I don't think I've never. No, I know for sure that I've never ever come to like blows with a driver. Like I've had road rage and everything. And
what
I do
about
my
the kid
best
on the BMX that you dropped? That was a pretty interesting story.
Oh yeah, that was a long time ago now.
Have you ever heard this, Jonsey?
No, I haven't.
That
wasn't on the run sheet.
Stories I've ever heard.
Come on, what happened?
I sort of vaguely remember. I stiff armed him. I remember that. And he
kept coming the other way.
I like how it starts with like one person says on the thread, "Hey, can you tell more Biffo stories?" It's like, right, hey, how long have you got?
I remember the BMX story quite well. So if you've got hazy details, I reckon I can fill you in. I can fill the blank.
You tell it, George. You go.
Okay, so from what I understood from this day was you were out on a group ride, riding two abreast, and you were riding down this road near the skate park, and this kid on a BMX started riding straight towards you guys on the wrong side of the road and trying to be a tough guy, and went in the middle of the two to make the group go around him. And he thought he was all tough, like, I'm making these cyclists split down the middle and go around me. And of course he gets to the back of the group and you just stick your hand out and take him clean off his bike.
Yeah. I just close hanged him.
To all those kids out there, don't do that. Don't ride your BMX through a group bunch because there could be a bully at the back. And he wasn't a kid.
He wasn't a kid though. He was like the same age as me. And I was like 11. No.
What did he do when he hit the deck? When that guy hit the deck, surely he got up with a busted back and scabs all over him thinking, how was that ever going to end other than what I got? Like, mate, what the fuck was he thinking?
Mate, sometimes you got to learn lessons the tough way.
Yeah, but
know?
it's a male thing. It's a male thing. You'd never hear three women telling that story going, yeah, one day this crazy woman just, bro, what is it about blokes? We love this shit. We love it.
I like how this has all been a roundabout way to talk about what happened at Perry Nice. I can't remember we were getting there to talk about.
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, it was me, Mike.
Oh,
Adjust it.
No, I like the Biffo stories. They're always good to like play back from the bottom of the memory, eh?
Yeah. Everyone loves a good Biffo story.
I once in a French amateur race unclipped and jumped off my bike onto another guy. I think I've told that story on here before.
Told that, you Superman.
Yeah.
Now we're recycling him.
And then I beat him up. And then I got disqualified.
I had a bit of Biffo at UAE because there was one day one guy was just clearly too much coffee, or I don't know. He was on it. He was a very stressed out individual this day, and a great video.
Wasn't Shane Archibald, was it?
No, it wasn't Shane Archibald. Did you have Biffo with Nobby?
No, but when he's had a couple too many coffees before the start, he's a chatty bloke, eh?
So I was going in with the new year, new me, let's make friends with everybody approach. But it was pretty windy on stage one. And I was like, right, just riding in the wind out in the front, just being full domestique. Because we had like a sprinter, a lead out man, 3 guys riding GC, and just 2 guys helping, you know? So I was having to do a bit of like flat work and wind work and all this stuff. And we're going down this hill at like 80 k an hour, and I'm just keeping the boys at the front in the crosswinds. And then suddenly, like from behind, like really 80 k an hour down this hill with quite hard crosswinds, I suddenly just get this huge push right across the road. Like someone just takes their hands off the handlebars and just throw me across the road to make space. And I've got all my team on the back. I'd hate to think how many million euros are sitting on my back wheel, you know? And, and I'm thinking, oh, mate. Right. So I luckily didn't have to say anything. My teammate stepped in because he saw it all and just rips into this guy. And I thought, man, that guy's pretty brave. But okay, whatever. You know, we get to the finish. There's nearly this huge crash and all this stuff in the final. Looking on Twitter, and I see this video of the guy. And about 4K to go or something like this, he literally had taken his hands off the bars, pushed this AG2R bloke across the wheel in front of everybody. Everyone slammed on the brake. Our sprinters got both feet unclipped, scraping along the ground. And then somehow they didn't kick him out of the race. So the next morning we arrive, and he was from Bahrain, and we saw the commissaires at their tent just giving them a telling off, and we all wind down the windows like, yeah, kick him out, you know, like giving him shit. Send him home. And
you're going home in the back of a DB van.
And we were all just like, yeah, we're just like winding him up, you know, like, get him out of here, because it's actually like, it was actually so dangerous. It's like, you know, it's one of those things where they should probably judge people on intent, not on outcome, right? You know, like Dylan in Poland, for example, you know, that was a terrible outcome. So they came down hard. But this guy literally
got away with it.
And got away with it. And then Steve-O, you know, he's now director of Bahrain.
Sheriff.
And listener of the show. Great bloke. He knows. He came in and said, he apologized on behalf. He said, guys, I saw the footage too, and I just want to. He just
red texter.
We don't condone that in our team. And I was like, oh, good on you, mate. So then everything was good, you know.
But that was like 15k to go, because
that's 15k to go.
Yeah, because I'd been riding the front for the better part of the stage with a couple of guys from Quickstep and Damien Housen, and I felt it was fucking insane because Damo had basically been in two positions of the bunch the whole day, either first wheel or last wheel, you know. So he's pulling all day, and then me and him were like rotating out. So like I'd do 40k on the front, then I'd go back to have a bit of a rest. He'd do 40k. We're sort of swapping out, trying to save us a little bit. And we'd just done the final chase, closed the breakdown, literally caught the break, and then that was about a K later. So we caught the break, and then Dam and I were fucked. It was 45 degrees. We got half bloody heat stroke. So we've gone from the front of the bunch to the back of the bunch in the space of about 1 kilometer. And just as we got to the back of the bunch, that happened. And the whole bunch swerved, and Damo was literally hit the guy in front of him. His back wheel was almost vertical off the ground. His feet were out, and he's just like sitting on his top tube with his back wheel about half a meter off the ground, both his feet sliding along the road. And I was just like, he's going down. He is going down. And he held it up. Somehow he held it up. But he was like, the poor bastard who'd been on the front all day, finally got to go to the back, job's done. And then fucking Jonathan Milan decided to try to throw this AG2R guy to the other side of the desert.
What was he thinking? Like, I've heard of Russian bloods to the head, and you do something stupid. Maybe you brush handlebars, but literally for no reason, this guy just saw someone in his personal space, and the guy, what was his name? Sorry, Milan. I think he's literally a first-year pro. I think this might be his first ever race.
Well, no, he was with Bahrain last year. He's Olympic champion. He's in the Italian team suit team.
Oh,
okay. That goes down a rabbit hole, though. But like Sagan comes out and says, "I'm sick of getting pissed on in the bunch." And for people that don't know cycling, give us some insight, Bills, on like, is this a problem with people getting pissed on in the bunch now? Like, when I was there was an etiquette, which is, you know, the race leader needs a piss, everyone pulls over and takes a piss. But now it sounds like it's a slashathon.
Well, it's better than getting it's better than getting shat on your whole career like I have. No, I don't know. Do people piss on people? I haven't been pissed on. My gut shot is... I did the fake piss on George in UAE.
Oh,
that was pretty funny.
Look like you're flopping it out and you're not doing anything.
George had gone... The bunch is on the right-hand side of the road, and George was like hard left on this little downhill, having a rolling piss, you know. So he's still moving. He's just having a piss. And then I saw him, so I like come out of the bunch hard left, and I just pulled my drink bottle out and put it between my legs. And as I went past George, I just squirted my drink bottle all over him. And he's like, "Oh, you fuck!"
I was so like, "Fuck!"
That's awesome.
And then I just held up my drink bottle. He's like, "Oh, you fucker."
But I reckon with Sagan, because they've hired him for, you know, marketing, and if you're not getting results, you got to create a headline. Like otherwise, like, how are you going to get the exposure?
I think people need to be careful who calls for respect. You need to, how do I say this? You
just fucking say it.
No, it'd be like
what are you worried about, mate? What have you had a filter?
Well, I'm just saying, like, yeah, there's respect, but like, okay, getting pissed on is one thing, but going right to left in a bunch sprint is also a form of respect, right? Not doing that. So let's fucking rein it in a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't know that. Like, I've never experienced. I don't think anyone's pissing on anybody on purpose, are they?
I feel like that's also a real bizarre criticism of the podcast.
Yeah, because when you read it, it sounds like everyone is pissing on everyone. And it's not the yellow jersey; it's the golden jersey. Like, what is going on?
Not the stockyards.
Yeah,
my only explanation to that is this marginal gains, and less people are stopping for a piss and they're pissing off the bike. And maybe if you piss on the wrong side of the paddock, if you're pissing in the windy side, there's a bit of spray back. The only problem I have is I piss on my shoes. And, you know, obviously my partner is in the shoe business, and it definitely leads to a bit of extra a bit of extra time with the wash basket, you know, like I'm because if you piss on your shoes and you don't clean your shoes, that's a disaster over 3 weeks.
It should, it's interesting, eh?
It's a bizarre criticism. I've got
bizarre
criticism of Peloton, but getting people pissing all over me isn't the top of the list.
No.
Yeah.
And I've got a lot, like you say. But
the funniest I ever saw was in Tour of Turkey in 2012. We're in the team car, and Gossi rolls up, and he goes, "I need a shit." Like, come up to the car, and we go,
"No, that was
what?
in Slovenia."
Yeah, that's right. And he goes, "I need a shit," and we're like, "Well, yeah, what do you want us to do?" And he goes, "I need a racing cap or toilet paper." Like, and we're like, "Fuck! Like, has anyone got a cap? Like, you know, you're not prepared for this stuff." But a lot of mechanics have a bog roll just sitting in the front seat just in case. And just as we come around the corner, there was a servo. So he's like, "Right, write the sprint off. I'm going in the servo. I'm doing it properly, and I'll make time cut. Like that was it. And that was
Really?
my first year. So it was my first insight to, oh, hang on, these guys need to piss in every now and then, take a shit. Like
Well,
no
I've
one ever
never had to
talks
take a
about.
shit in a race, but I heard
Nah.
a horrific story about a guy who was in the breakaway in the Tour de France 2012 stage, Trenton won. And to the break, 12 guys up the road, the break's going to the line, going to win. You know, so you get a 1 in 12 chance, and this guy was reasonably fast, so he probably had a bit more of a chance. Anyways, guts a crook, 50k to go, and he's like,
Oh no.
really shit. Man, this is not good podcast material. Jesus, people don't want to hear this, but all right. This is fucking horrible. I don't even want to hear this, and I'm telling the story. But all right, we're fucking here now, so let's push
Yeah, but
it.
who else is talking about it because they're going, oh, this isn't good podcast. You hear it here first. How to write a snap a
All right.
wet
So
wet
what
cable.
happened to this guy is he's like, he goes to the team car, and he's like, I need to take a shit. And they're like, mate, 40k to go, Tour de France, victory coming, just fucking hold on. He's like, I can't. And he said, give me some scissors. Scissors, what? Okay. They pass him scissors. He unzips his jersey, chops his bib shorts, like the straps on your bib shorts, so he can pull his pants down, pulls his pants down, goes to the back of the breakaway, leans over the back of his bike, and takes a dump with diarrhea. But the problem was, oh, fuck. This is horrible. Oh, okay, anyway. So we're just going to sucker through this, and then we'll move on. He shits all over his back wheel.
Oh,
So he's getting the rooster.
This is a great story.
So he's getting the rooster tail all up the back. Commissaire car, team car number 1.
Oh, you sprayed
Moto
him off.
driver is just getting fucking
Spray.
hammered by diarrhea.
And I know who this guy is, and he's got quite a specific nickname now that I probably shouldn't say on the show.
Well,
That's good
Davis,
nickname country.
Alan Davis had the same thing at the Giro, and I think it was stage 8, and he did it into a cap, and then he threw the cap, and he reckons he was right, and he turned back, and he saw this kid like chasing off after the cap, like it was a freebie. Like imagine that kid, like it's shocking. Like this is life, mate. This is life.
I love how
Anyway.
we've just dedicated this episode to just throwing people under the bus.
Yeah.
Albie loves telling that story. Loves it. He called it stage 8 sore date. That was his whole thing. He didn't give a shit. Well, he did at the time. But
He did give a shit.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's it. Well, there you go. You want those insights?
So apologies for that story.
Yeah. No, it's fine. It's real life. So, fellas, for our Aussie listeners, I'm going to be on Millionaire Hot Seat. So it's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but Millionaire Hot Seat in Australia on Thursday, 5 o'clock. So that's the 10th of March if you're listening live-ish. And I can't – problem is they get you to sign this bloody NDA, so you can't say what happened on the show. But the audition to get on, I remember seeing an ad like, if you want to be part of Millionaire Hot Seat, and it was in lockdown, I was like, yeah, I do. Like, what do I got to do? So I got on and I thought, oh, well, my general knowledge is rough as guts, but I'll spin a good yarn, why not? And then they do this audition process and you've got to spin shit about yourself for a minute. So I shortlisted.
Are they looking for people that know shit about anything, or are they just looking for personalities that are going to make a good show? Because, like, do they want people to go far? Do they want,
I think it's a mix. I think you need like one nerd in the 6, like that's going to give it credibility. Because if you've got, 6 Jonesies, it's just going to bomb out, get to a grand.
Are you a team? Is this how it works, or is it individual?
No, it's individual, but you can pass. So if you don't know the question, you get 1 pass. So early on, you can go, no, don't know, pass. And there's a fastest finger at the start, and they give away grants just to fill an hour. But I went in thinking, think TV, think what they're looking for, just ham it up.
Because you had to audition. You had to audition to get a spot.
Yeah. Yeah. So you fill in an online questionnaire and just ham up the stories, done the tour a few times and, whatever. And, told them a few yarns. And then they do this Zoom chat. And 2 weeks later, they go, yeah, no, we've shortlisted you. Do you want to jump on for a Zoom chat? And I was like, yeah, sure. So they get on, they go, talk about yourself for a minute. I go, oh, okay. Well, I work in media and that, but I used to work at a toothpaste factory. I was telling him the story about when I botched the home brand batch of toothpaste and they
the
ended up
$10,000 vet.
That's it. I told him that story, and the lady goes, they're all pissing themselves, particularly when I got sacked and 5 blokes in lab coats had to push my car out because I couldn't start it. So I literally said they pushed me out the door from Ensign Laboratories. And she goes, that is a great story, but you didn't mention once about the Tour de France. I said, nah, toothpaste, way better yarn. And I think they're thinking, oh, well, he's got a few in the kit bag. Well, let's get him on. And yeah, then I was in the car and they rang and they said, and it broke up. And I said, who's this? And he goes, oh, it's, Rachel from Millionaire Hot Seat. I said, I think I want to take this call. And she goes, oh, yeah, just wanting to tell you that you're on Millionaire Hot Seat. And I said, hang on. I got the kids Tuesday and Wednesdays. When is it? And she says, what? I said, I can't do it Tuesdays, Wednesdays. And she goes, it's Monday. And I said, I'll lock it in, Eddie. I'm in. And I could hear people in the background pissing themselves laughing. So I was like, I went in hot and I got a lot of airtime, but I can't say what happened on the show. So listen to the next episode. I'll go blow by blow what went down on
I
Hot
noticed
Seat.
you are wearing a new Rolex, so
Can't say, mate. NDA all the way. So, but it was awesome. So I'm actually not going to watch it because I know what happened on the show, but I just want to see the phone light up with all these people because it's nationwide. I'll get the phone going, you mad dog. So you're a hot seat. It's awesome. Whatever.
You idiot. How did you not know the capital of Australia, you fucking clown?
How'd you get that math question wrong? Isn't your old man a maths teacher? Yeah. But I'm not giving it away, but there was one simple question, and I think Eddie said, and everyone got that wrong. Oh, Dan got it wrong. Well, hands on the head, like just Jesus. And then my confidence was shot, but I'll make a comeback. So
I can't
Did
wait.
you give
Next
the-
Thursday. All right.
yeah.
Did you give the Social Distance podcast a shout out on there? Now that we're sellouts, now that we're commercial sellouts.
No, I didn't get a chance. I got asked about the tour and that, but I played the man. Like Eddie was at the tour in 2012, so yeah, played the man, pumped him up. So it's important.
Speaking of Australia, man, sad news, eh? Warning.
Oh, shocking! That is the equivalent for an Aussie male of where were you when you heard the news of Princess Di? Like I was up. I'm working on a documentary at the moment for this Western United Footy Club, and I had to do this teaser. So I come on board 4 months in. They've sacked the director, and they said, "Look, we need you to mop it up." And I said, "Oh, okay, no worries." So I've been on it for a month, and they need this teaser. So when you're trying to sell it for a streamer, you need to cut like 5 minutes of the best thing. And I'd done the first minute and I was like, you need it like Monday. Yeah, no worries. I'm thinking, shit, how am I going to do this? And then I just had that, when you get those moments where you get revved up, I'm just going to smash it tonight. Got the kids to bed, 10 o'clock, start editing. I was just about to go to bed. And then you message me, Bills, and you send a screenshot of like, Shane Warne's dead at 52. And I thought, I didn't
believe it, eh?
Nah, that's a hoax. That's one of those you click it and you get.
Because they did this with Nathan McCullum.
Oh,
they
yeah?
Said Brendan McCullum's brother. They said, Nathan McCullum's died a couple of years ago. And it turned out it was.
Oh, yeah.
It was shit. Oh, Siri's on. Get off, Siri.
Get out of it.
Get out of it.
But I was so awake after that message because I'm in shock. Like I was literally in shock. I stayed up till 4 a.m. and cut the teaser and was just like, it was just an out of body experience that entire day. And then, with the warning stuff, it still can't sink in.
I thought he'd be the kind of guy that couldn't die. You know what I mean? I thought he'd be the guy that goes to 100. Like, I thought he'd be McGregor, smoke that many durries, eat that shit, loves, how many cans of VB has that guy put away? But, just wouldn't, you just.
I was shocked because because Rod Marsh had died like 12 hours prior or something. And I got a message from someone saying, like, send me the link to this, this tweet that Warne had just died. And I was like, first I was like, what the fuck? That's not true. Like, for straight away, I was the same as you, George. I was like, nah, he can't die. Warne's not going to
Yeah.
die, especially
Can't die.
now. So then I like jumped on the internet straight away and like Googled Shane Warne's death or whatever, and nothing came up. And even on Wikipedia, it said like Warne's a ex-cricket player, current commentator for whoever, blah blah blah. I was like, no, it's bullshit. It's not true. And then 5 minutes later, I was like, oh fuck, it's true. And like I was just lying in my hotel bed at Strade, and like I nearly cried. Like I was actually shocked. Eh?
Yeah.
Like I was gutted. And
Yeah.
like we did Warne on back in the old days of the show. We used to do Legend or Ballend. You know,
He was a unanimous legend. He was like unanimous legend.
He was a unanimous legend. But like, no matter what way, like he had his flaws, obviously, and you know, no matter what way you look at him,
that's why you liked him though, because he was just like, he was basically just like one of your mates that that had somehow found himself as the most famous cricket player in history, and still just acted like one of your mates. Like,
and like, regardless of whether you think he's a legend or a Ballend, he was the greatest at both. And
it's interesting for people that don't not like follow cricket or anything. Like my trainer, because I put a story up, you know, like, oh, sad day for cricket, whatever. And my trainer like sent me like 3 photos. South African guy doesn't follow cricket. 3 photos, and it was like Warne like with like 3 hookers, Warne with smoking a dart and eating a pie, and then Warne like taking a wicket or something. 3 photos. He's like, "Is this the guy you were talking about?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's him." And he's like, "Oh, I can see why you miss him."
But talkback radio's lit up here in Australia, and they're all people ringing in sharing like Warne stories. There was a guy who was like a security at a hotel, and he said to Warne, he was going out for darts and beers every 40 minutes. He goes, "Mate, you can't take your beer out there." And he goes, "Why not?" He goes, "Well, you can't." He goes, "Yeah, no worries, mate." Put his beer down. He goes, "Don't you steal it." And then he goes out and he had a transistor radio with a dart. He was listening to the footy. And then he went back in. He was going out every 20 minutes, but he was telling the guy the footy scores every time he went out. He goes, "Hey, mate, you know, Saints are up by 14 points." He goes, "Oh, thanks, mate." So they become mates. And this bloke's told him, "Hey, you can't take a beer there." A normal guy would be going, "I'm Shane Warne. I'll do whatever I want. Like, piss off." Whereas he's like, "No, you're just doing your job." Gives him his beer and giving him footy scores.
There's been a lot to take in over the last few weeks. It's been, man, we thought COVID-19 was the height of our issues.
I'll try to lift this. I'll lift the spirits a bit for you and blow some more smoke up our own asses. A good friend of ours, Jens Morris, who used to race with us on Green Edge, he's doing a university course at the moment, and he did one of his what do you call it in uni? Like if you're doing like a paper and you have like, is it segments or like case studies or something? And it was about like, because he's doing it in like sort of psychology sort of stuff, like helping out like disabled adults. Like that's what he does now, like works in a home helping out disabled adults and things. And he did one on, it was about communication or like how people connect, and he used our show as his case study, and he got an A.
Really?
He said apparently the chemistry amongst us 3 is good.
Oh.
Just give each other shit.
They need to run a reevaluation of him. They need to
run that through the AI generator again.
Yeah.
Jeez. Oh, that's good.
It's obviously we haven't pulled back the curtain enough on our group chat. The communication between when we can arrange to record it.
Yeah.
I just remember Jens was like an absolute diesel on the cans. Like he's one of those guys that, you know, when you go drinking with mates, you got some that like you just don't know what you're going to get out of them. You know, they could be 2-pot screamers or whatever. He'd have one speed. It was about 4th gear, and he'd just drink at the same pace, you know. And if you try to sit on his wheel by about 1-2 o'clock, you're on your back. Yeah,
I did a training camp with Jens once, and Bules and Heppy and Dennis Van Wyndham. So we were like 5 guys, and I arranged this house. We're going Fontenay before the Vuelta, early days professional, and we were going up there to like lock it down, get lean, train, and we stayed up every night till about 3 a.m. playing poker. That's all we did. We just gambled, and we were so fucked to go training.
We had some big poker games, that camp.
Oh man!
I remember like going to like 3 a.m, and I think it was me and Jensy still left. with only 2 left playing, and we had half the pot each. And I was just like,
Oh,
Cool.
this game's never going to end. And I think we just went all in on one hand or something.
Yeah.
only way to do it, eh?
Yeah.
Got to.
Yeah. Anything else we
Alright.
need to wrap up? Oh, what about Paris-Nice? Jumbo took the
Paris-Nice.
piss
Oh, yeah,
there.
that's what we were getting at before we started talking about drivers and M3s beating the shit out of you. So crazy to think that Poggy's win, which was one of the most outrageous, best wins in maybe in the history of cycling. I don't know. I mean, it's very up there. Was not even necessarily the craziest thing that happened in 3 days of cycling. So Jumbo Visma just went 1, 2, 3 in this Paris-Nice stage. But I thought the most interesting thing about that was as they were coming to the line, as I was trying to work out who they're going to give it to, because Roglic needed the time bonus for the GC. Walt would have won if it was a race, but they gave it to the new guy, Christophe Laporte. And I think that was an absolute smart play because
Culture.
Jumbo, we didn't have big fans in France because in 2020 we rode everywhere and we sort of killed the tour, let's say, you know, like we sucked the life out of it in a big way. And with the French who love with the Bachon, you know, they didn't really love us. And they've signed one French guy, Christophe, new guy on the team. And I reckon they made a very good decision.
Yep.
Putting him first.
But you're right about the culture as well. Like they're in France. Roglic, yeah, you could argue that like those extra 4 seconds might help Roglic down the line, but
if he loses Paris by 4 seconds, then you look back and say that was a mistake. But
until that happens, I think it was a good decision because they've given it to a French guy in France. That's one thing. But also just in the team environment, like he's a domestique and he's the one he set that move up and he's going to be working for Wout van Aert in every single classic over the next 6 weeks, you know, putting his balls on the line for Wout in all those races. And then presumably if he goes to the tour, it's all in for Roglic. So he's a domestique who's going to spend the better part of his time at Jumbo dedicated to those 2 guys. And it's a gift that it's easily given, and not easily forgotten, you know.
But like that is a bizarre situation. Like that's been a dream situation for me because I've never been able to outsprint anybody, right? So the only way, unless I'm coming to a line solo, I need to get a gift, you know. And like, I can't believe it with it when Stebar was it Stebar the last guy or was it?
Stebar.
When he let that wheel go, I was just thought, "What? This is fucking the most outrageous thing I've seen." Like,
well, because it was like it was an overhead shot when Stebar lost the wheel, and I just saw one guy getting dropped. I was like, "Oh, there goes Laporte. He's dropped because he set it up. He started from the bottom of the hill and just basically went full gas from bottom to the top, and then I was like, oh." Laporte's gone. That makes sense. He's just done a 1K pull. And then they went back and it was just those 3 guys. I was like, holy shit, what am I watching? And like, it was ultimately a flat stage. Like it wasn't even like, wasn't even like a massive defining feature. It was a 1K climb with 6K to go that we do all the time in bike races. But they came into it so fast in one line.
The closest we ever come at Green Edge was one stage at Torino. I was in car 2. And Heyman and Durbo got in the break. And I was like, my brain was like, holy shit, we got 2 guys in the break. This never happens. And they're solo.
But only those 2. It was just those
Only those 2. Yeah, Durbo and Heyman off the front. And they let him go.
Been world slow. Was Heyman slow as well in the sprint?
No, Heyman's fast.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
But then we had Vittorio in the team car and his English isn't good. So I just said, give me the mic, mate. So I'm like DS just going, righto, fellas, coming up to a corner here in about 500, you know, just easy.
And that would actually be the hardest break to bring back. Those 2 are like the strongest in the world. Like they are the 2 guys that I'd say, let's not put either of those, like let's not allow either of those in the break because that'd be real hard to bring back.
Well,
do you know what helped them get caught? Is they ate shit.
They ate shit on a corner. So I'm in there going, yeah, heads up, boys. Got a sharp right-hand corner. I was thinking I was grabbing a sandwich. And they ate shit on a tight right-hander. I hadn't given them a heads up. There's no DS.
And then gave you the microphone again.
No. I even said afterwards, he goes, "Where's the fucking heads up on that tight right hander?" I said, "Sorry, mate. I was grabbing my ham and cheese in the back seat." Sorry about that. And he had skin all off his back, and I was like, "Yeah, just take it easy, boys. The brakes, they're catching you. They've chewed 3 minutes. Chewed 3 minutes in the last 2K. That's all right, boys. Sit up."
Carry news today is going to be bloody World War III. I saw it was from like north to south with full gas crosswind the whole way.
Is
like
that?
100K. Yeah, I just
beauty.
saw it, but it's already exploding right now.
Oh, good. I wanted something to watch. And Torino starts today as well. Torino Adriatico, and that's already
tomorrow. No, it's normally Tuesday. It starts.
No, it starts today.
Oh, does it come back today?
I used to love Torino. That was a great race.
Mm.
I flooded a bedroom once there when they were doing the ice baths, and I took the hose out, and I thought, I'll just put that on the ground because it wasn't leaking water, but it pumped all the water out and flooded about, I don't know, half a foot of water in my room when I got out of the shower. And then we were rooming with other teams, and they just see the top room of Green Edge, like we're sweeping water out, and then it was leaking onto other teams. Oh, it was a shit fight. And then I think I blew up. Gary, the mechanic, was charging one of the Shimano things, and it just short-circuited. So when I got back to Girona, I got to check in my bags at the airport, and they said, "No, you're 7 kilos overweight." I go, "What?" They said 7 kilos overweight, and they weighed it. My suitcase was 27 kegs, so I just paid it. I was in a rush. The arsehole put a brick in my suitcase and wrote "Bon appetit, fat boy" on the brick for blowing up his Shimano fucking gear set or whatever he was charging because I flooded the room at Torino. So I kept the brick because it cost me €150. Bon appetit, fat boy. With a smiley face. Oh, mechanics. Oh, fuck.
Oh,
Anyway,
God. Yes.
Good times. All right. Good show, boys.
Well, yeah. Any admin? Have we got any admin? No.
Oh, no. We've spoken to the guys at the DM, and we said the most important thing moving forward is merch. And they're on to caps. So we're going to do a logo. We're going to get some caps. We're going to get stuff that says merch on it. Everyone asked us about merch. It is definitely coming. Trust us.
So we're going to redo the logo because we basically haven't got one. So should we?
Are you handballing it to Caitlin, or what are you doing?
Well, I was going to say, should we handball it to the listeners again, like we do everything else?
Oh yeah.
we're chucking a jersey.
Did you send your jerseys to the listeners, George?
No, we've got to do that.
Oh shit.
No, I've got them. I've got the addresses. So we've got to do that. We're
good for it. We're good for it. Robbie Dawson, he's hanging out. Yeah.
We're going to do that. We'll send a few jerseys. And we'll chuck in a free cap with the new logo on it if you create a logo for us.
It's coming. Merch is coming. That's all you need to know.
Can't wait.
All right. See you all in a couple of weeks. See you in 2 Tuesdays' time.
Sweet.
Thanks for listening. Like, share, subscribe.